All right, so I think we're going live. Um, I will. It's looks like it's loading. So now we have you in here. So yeah, welcome to Miranda Tan. You're calling from New York, right?
That's right.
Right. So thanks a lot for joining. I got really into kind of really interested about China's influencers, and I actually think we bumped into each other last year in New York at some tech events, and so I've been following you like what you've been doing online. So thanks for joining today. So the topic, like it's written in the title, is about China's influencers that are quite different from I would say Western influencers. Maybe Miranda, you can introduce yourself and then tell us how you got into China's influencers marketing and so on.
Sure. So my name is Miranda Tan. I'm the CEO and founder of Robin 8. And Robin 8 is a data-driven KOL platform consultancy. So we focus solely on KOLs. So in the US, we call them influencers. In China, we call them KOLs, key opinion leaders. So about 5 years ago, we had a PR platform. And then one of the investors saw our PR platform, and our PR platform really liked it and invited us to go to China. So maybe before I go, like a little bit about my background. So
Yeah.
I've been doing about PR and marketing for about 15 years. I used to work for a lot of companies in the U.S. who were trying to go public or who raised a lot of money to try and build their awareness. So I had my own agency. And having your own agency is actually a lot of work. So we came up with a PR platform where we profile the reporters down to a science based on the articles they wrote. So we had a client who was trying to do a new product launch. Our platform would tell us exactly which reporters to contact. There's no guessing. So just say if you're launching a new software, we'll tell you, which reporters to contact. If you're like announcing a new fund, if your company's going public, we will basically, using our PR platform where we profile reporters down to a science, we'll tell you exactly who are the best reporters to contact, so you wouldn't waste time contacting a lot of these reporters. So we had this, PR platform doing pretty well, and then we had one of the managing directors from China Accelerator see it, and he really liked it. And he invited us to go to China, and we went to China. They loved our technology, how we profile reporters. When we went to China, it was like 2015, and they said, this is a great, the technology is really great, but in China, it's all about KOLs.
Mm-hmm.
It's more paid media, versus earned media. Earned media is like where you basically contact reporters, they write a story about your company, but you don't pay them. That's called earned media. So we went to China, they're like, in China, everything deals with KOLs, key opinion leaders, and you have to pay them. So they're saying in China, it's like the wild, wild west. We have all these, influencers, KOLs, and these KOLs will have their own pricing, and it's very hard to figure out who are the best, best KOLs. And they're so expensive. So they were saying, like, your platform's great, but it's not a good fit for China because it deals with reporters. So then what happens, we quickly change our product, and we became an influencer platform versus reporters. So, they thought reporters, because PR was a smaller space. So we changed our business model. We basically launched the first search engine, KOL search engine in China, where we profile the influencers. And then, so if you're looking for fashion influencers, we'll tell you exactly who to contact based on the influencers, the KOL's profile. So that was about 4 or 5 years ago. 5 years ago, so we went, 2015. And then since then, we worked with a lot of brands, with a lot of clients, with over 5,000 campaigns. And our whole thing is basically helping brands use data to find the best influencers. We're all about data. It's totally data-driven. So using data will tell you which are the best influencers to give you the best return on investment. So we're all about profiling. Where we profile the influencers down to a science, ranking them, and then matching the brands to the best influencers. So that's kind of how we got started.
Nice. So what year did you? When did you make? You went to China in 2015 with the reporters kind of platform, and then when did you make the change to influencers?
Within, I would say within 6 months.
Oh, nice.
So we went in March. We were part of China Accelerator. So they're the number one, accelerator in China.
What's that called?
It's called China Accelerator. They're part of SLS Ventures.
Okay.
And then they brought us to China, and that was like, our first time to China actually. And then when we went there, people really liked our platform, and they were like, this would be much better. It's a great technology, but to make it, fit China, it has to be about influencers. So we quickly changed it to become an influencer platform, and we launched it, I believe, within a year, I believe. Within a year, we launched the first search engine where we profile, over 65 million, people. And we were actually the first one. So the way it worked was like, it hasn't changed much. It's like there's all these influencers, and they all charge different rates. So how would you know which ones to contact? They're all so expensive. Like some of these influencers are pretty expensive, and so a lot of brands who are trying to get the influencers to work with them, they didn't know which one to contact, and they didn't know, basically who to contact, if it was worth the money. How do you know which ones? There's so many of them. So that's how we got started into China.
Very interesting. So we're 5 minutes into just of this 30-minute chat. If you want, we can go and take a look at your product, because I think we can spend quite a bit of time there. I'm a kind of a product obsessed guy, so.
Okay.
So here's the platform. Thanks a lot for the for the demo access. So obviously, it looks like it's both in Chinese, English, and Korean, if I understand my Asian characters right.
Yeah. So let me give you a quick overview
Yeah.
of how this works, and then maybe it will be easier. Since so this is our this is our PR platform. Anyone can go in there. It's robina.pro. You can sign up. You can sign up for a free account. And basically what we do is like we make it really easy for you to find the best influencers. There's no guessing. So you could use English, you could use Chinese, you could use Korean. So we have a lot of English brands contacting us, saying, hey, how do we find the best influencers? So that's why we have English. And then, so the way it works when you come in here, you would basically, if you go to settings, you would enter settings on the, on my brand, see my brand. Yeah. You can enter what brand you are. Go back to home. So when you enter what brand you have, we will recommend the KOLs for you based on your brand. So if your brand's, for example, if your brand is H&M, or if your brand is Chanel, based on your brand, we'll recommend the best influencers for you. So these influencers, and what we recommend for you, it's like these are up and comers. So we try to let you discover new KOLs every time. So if you look at these, there's a score of 54.85. So we have a range where basically it's like 1 to, it's the higher it is, it's like 1 to over 200. So if something's like basically 54, or that's pretty good. If someone has a 94, that usually means that they're a celebrity or they're like a big influencer.
So I guess it's out of 100.
Yeah, out of 100.
Okay, great. And that
you can see WeChat. So these are different social channels in China. So China, unlike the U.S., it's a closed, they have their own platform. So in China, it's like Weibo, which is kind of like the
Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter China. There's WeChat. It's WeChat official account.
It's like a WhatsApp or Messenger.
It's like a WhatsApp, or it's like it's kind of like Facebook a little bit. Facebook business account, and the Xiaohongshu. So Xiaohongshu it's also called Redbook. So so Xiaohongshu, and so Douyin, and Douyin is also
TikTok.
It's called TikTok, right?
And Xiaohongshu, it's a little bit like Pinterest, if I remember.
It's kind of, I wouldn't say it's kind of like Pinterest. It's kind of like it's basically it's a community. It's a community. I mean, Pinterest, it's more like pictures, right? So I wouldn't say Xiaohongshu is like Pinterest, but I could see the similarity. Xiaohongshu is more, it's like a community. It started off as like a community of people recommending great products.
Yeah.
So it's a community where you can also buy the products on Xiaohongshu. And the way it's set up is like, for brands, you can set up your own store on Xiaohongshu, and they're like, okay, this is your stuff, you deal with it. And then basically they have all these niche, influencers on Xiaohongshu. Exactly. Yeah. Xiaohongshu, and then there's also Douyin. So Douyin's super popular now.
Yeah, that's TikTok. Yeah.
Short videos. And then so here you could, we recommend the KOLs, and you could go to the search really quickly. So the search, you see go search. So here you can find the KOLs. You could find, you could go into, for example, fashion. You click on the industry below to make it easier for you. Fashion all the way. Yeah, click on that. We go by, cities, by platform, gender. So you could search and then click on search. Search, yeah.
I tried Beijing. By the way, I lived in Beijing for 6 months. I worked there in 2008.
Like
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. I really had a lot of fun. I really wanted to stay, but then I put a veto on myself because I had asthma when I was a kid. So I was having the best fun of my life, and I enjoyed learning about new culture every day. And the potential, the idea of learning Chinese was really appealing to me. And I love history, so the Summer Palace and Forbidden City were amazing. But just I couldn't deal with the pollution, unfortunately. But ended up in California for 8 years, so that's not bad after all.
Well, Beijing's beautiful. I go back there a lot, and then whenever I go to Forbidden City, every time I go there, it just wows me. It's so beautiful, right?
I love it.
It's beautiful. So this is the search. So then you go, okay, so you can see, we search it, and you can go into like the profiles, you put them on the shopping cart. But let's go back to home. Go back to home on the, right? And then, so you could go to, on these KOL profile, you could click on, if you don't mind, click on the first one, and you see there's a shopping cart. So you can add them to the shopping cart. Oh, yeah, the first one, shopping cart. Right? And then you could actually, you could X out. So you could, and then you can also see the details if you click on the shopping cart. Oh, just X out. Yeah, X out. Yeah. And then you see the detail on the right side of below the score. Below the score. Yeah.
This one?
Oh, no. I'm showing the details.
Yeah, sorry. I'm a little bit multitasking.
Yeah, sorry. I should have showed you before. So this is like the analysis. You scroll down. You could look at also look at the analytics. Yeah, and then you go to the analytics. The second tab. Go on top. And then scroll down. Yeah. So yeah, and then you go back to another one. Yeah.
To another influencer.
Yeah, go to another one. So you can see the profile. We also do audience analysis. So every time we come, we recommend new ones. Right? And go to analytics. Yeah.
So one question, for instance, looking at this influencer that seemed like she grew a lot. I know that's just a number of posts, but it reminded me of some of those graphs where some influencers grow too much, and obviously there's the whole fake followers, automation, but how do you see that part? Are you starting to track it or thinking about tracking it? What's your...
So let me show you really quickly, and then we can answer that question. So if you go back to home, so this is the profile. So what Robin does is, this is like a planning tool. You can find all these great influencers for you, and if you want to place the campaign, you can place the campaign. Go to create campaign. So you could create, and you place the campaign.
Okay, and what's KOC?
So KOC is really popular now. KOC is like key opinion consumers. So we were called so now this is actually a great leeway into what you're talking about. A lot of brands now, because the economy is not doing so well, so a lot of brands are very conservative now. So they're also, in addition to KOLs, key opinion leaders, they're also, I see a lot of brands also investing into converting their super fans or their customers into becoming the advocate. So what this means is basically for a brand, they might have a lot of potential customers or existing customers who are, they're not big KOLs with millions of fans. They might have a couple of thousand. So here you could actually, get these niche, key opinion consumers to help you promote your content or promote your brand.
I guess what we call micro influencers.
Yeah, you could call them micro. So micro is definitions but the term that people use this year is more KOCs. But they're micro influencers, exactly.
Nice.
So here you place micro. We have 10 million micro influencers.
Oh wow.
And then for KOLs, we could also you could place campaigns on KOLs who. Just say you have a campaign, what's your budget? So here's where you could place the order. So this is what I call shotban, means in Chinese, place your order. You have a campaign, you have a budget. Who do you want? You just basically place your order. So you could click on it. It tells you how to, it's just an order form.
Which one should I click? Campaigns or the KOL, KOC?
Both. Yeah, both is fine. You click on that. Go back. This is a big campaign. You just, you place your order. or you could go to place your order, place your order who you want, how much, and then our system. And then the other one, it's pretty simple. The other one is for you to place your order for, the KOCs. And like I mentioned, we have like over 10 million KOCs, and you place your budget, how you want to pay them, like CPC or CPP. CPC means cost per click or cost per post. And then the whole system is automated.
Is this, by the way, in dollars or RMBs?
RMB. So RMB. So it's like for it's RMB. So it's 127 or 1 or 1 to 6.9, depends on. But yeah, so it's RMB. Mm-hmm. And if you go back to home, so as you place your campaign, everything's automated. And then here it's where we have KOL listening. So if you click on KOL listening, click on it. So here, just say you have a list of KOLs that you want to follow. We can help you follow, track them. You scroll down. So a lot of brands, they might want to follow, like a set of KOLs they want to use. So here, our system, allows you to follow them. Yeah. So that's our system. So if you go back, so it's pretty. You could click on it. Yeah. You could click on it. Oh, click on all of them. Click on all of them. Top. Yep. And then click on that graph above the shopping cart. Oh, below. Yep. Right side. Right there. Yeah. So we'll map it out for you. Nice. Who are the most influential. So you can see Robinate, it's like a planning tool, and then it's also a tool where you place your order. And if you want, our team, we have customer support on the left side, where basically we can help you. If you have any questions, we're more than happy to assist you.
Maybe we can take a step back, get back to you. Maybe we can get back to the product, but just because the platform looks really amazing. Actually, it's the first time I see it. We didn't have. Because we're moving so fast, we didn't even have enough time to actually go through the platform. But that's fun. So I wanted to ask you maybe general questions about your company, if you can share, because the platform looks amazing. Like, how much money have you raised, if you raise anything, or if you can share where you're at in terms of customers or revenue. Just some numbers that can maybe like people listening can put you somewhere in their mind map of startups and companies.
So for us, we came to China. We raised about 4 million. A little over 4 million USD.
Yeah.
And we came in 2015, and we basically built a platform. So since then, we worked with like 5,000, campaigns. Some of the brands we worked are, for example, our Karl Lagerfeld, Evian. We worked with, Bacardi. We worked with Porsche, Macy's. We worked with, a lot of like global brands as well as the 4As. And what happens is a lot of these brands, they come to us directly, or we work with their agency, and they come to us and they ask us, we can help them insights, like help them, understand like the market. Some of them are entering China for the first time, or they don't really know what the market is, like what their who their competitors are, what the space is about. So we could do them an insight, and then what we do is we can also help them figure out what is their strategy, like they have a budget. We'll tell them like which are the best KOLs to basically to invest in to give them the best ROI. So for example, like sometimes brands will come to a set budget, and we'll say, okay, for this budget, maybe we allocate 10% to the big KOLs. Maybe we allocate 40%, to the KOCs, and the rest we could do these niche KOLs. Since niche KOLs tend to be, tend to be a lot more targeted. And they also tend to be a lot more affordable. And they tend to give you better ROI in terms of engagement. So that's how we work with brands. A lot of brands come to us, and we help them basically figure out, really understand the space, understand their strategy, and what's the best way to get the maximum ROI. So everything's about data. It's very data-driven. Nice. So I think to answer your question before, when you asked me before earlier, like, Miranda, how do you deal with fake data, right?
Yeah, actually, I have that question, but I want to ask you something else before, maybe a little bit more on the positive side, right? And my question is about like, it's quite interesting that I'm asking this question because, I always, while I was living in China, I always felt Chinese wanted to kind of get out of China and learn about the world, right? Because I think maybe 10 years ago, China was not yet such a leader. It was still like, it was growing, but it didn't grow like in the last 10 years, it really grew a lot more, right? So then in the last 10 years, I think there's been a lot of brands, exactly like you said, wanting to go into China because the market is massive. Especially I was looking at some data in terms of e-commerce. It's just like the biggest e-commerce market in the world. And right, it's even bigger than US, which I thought like that would not be the case. So
1.3 billion consumers in China. You're totally right.
Yeah. And then it's not just the number, it's the fact that everyone is on with their phones on WeChat, they have a wallet, and then the influencers are just so much bigger than on average in other markets, right? But so my question to you is that, like, I'm starting to feel like the need to, as well, with like some people, to at some point go to China, but maybe with something new. Like, I'm thinking, we have good contacts with a bunch of influencers in, let's say, Italy or US or Mexico. Do you think there's ever like any opportunities for foreign influencers to go to China and either, like, you know, network with some of the local KOLs, or maybe some of the Chinese companies kind of, want to get to know them, to then bring back some of the Chinese products to the market. So, like, I'm starting to feel like, right, the things are switching, right? Where, like, it's you don't have to go to US or Silicon Valley. You need to go to China, right? So, like, in order to find new business and to grow that market and so on. But, like, China is always an interesting place to go. So, like, do you know what I'm asking? Does it make sense? Like, how would you approach it in terms of foreign influencers going to China?
I mean, I think it's actually already happening. It's like, so just, I think everything you said is so right on. So, like, when we first went to China maybe 5 years ago, when we first went, I think a lot of people were like saying to us, hey, tell us what is the hottest company in Silicon Valley? Hey, what's the hottest company? What's the hottest, how are things working in Silicon Valley? That's how it was maybe, like, when we went there in 2015. But the last couple of years, I was the last 2 years, China has become so advanced, especially since they're so mobile and so social. Now, when I talk to a lot of, like, investors or companies, they're like, they don't even ask about U.S. What's like the hottest company in the U.S. They're more about, all they talk about is, like, how the China market. So I would say the last 5 years things have changed. So it's China's always a very, very fast market. I would say last 2 years or so, they really moved so fast now. I would say they're even kind of outpaced the way U.S. are, even especially in the influencer space. Like, the way influencers work in China, it's so advanced.
Like, especially with the live streaming, like, I'm still impressed by that. With the
or sales, how you sell stuff. So, like, China, it's so social, so mobile. So usually it has something new every 6 months. But the last 2 years, China's become so advanced now in terms of influencer space, in terms of how they sell products, how they market, also how they play how they play the whole game of engagement, selling a product. It's now, I would say, it's the leader. So when I talk to a lot of brands now, they want to know how it's done in China. They don't even ask about U.S. anymore. Maybe 5 years ago, they want to know what's it like in the U.S., how does it work. Now it's all about China.
Yeah, so, and I agree on that. And to my question, like, do you see any opportunities for foreign influencers to go to China, to either, like, work with Chinese brands and to get them, still to go even further, to expand even further, or to work with local Chinese influencers?
Yeah, I think there's a huge opportunity. Like I mentioned earlier, China has like 1.3 billion consumers. That's like the biggest consumer market, right? 1.3 billion. That's a lot of people there. So in terms of, like, in China, we know a couple of things. In China, if you want to sell something, influencers, KOLs, it's the only way, or the only efficient way to sell your product. So if you want to sell your product in China, influence is the way to go, and word of mouth. So one of the things about Chinese, we see a lot of like global brands now all going to China. We also see a lot of celebrities and influencers that want to actually have a presence in China. Why is that? It's because they know China's, like, it's a huge market, 1.3 billion people. So we see a lot. You see this in a lot of celebrities, a lot of these, like, sports athletes. They all want to capitalize on what's going on in China, and then the way to do is basically you would set up an account. You could set up a Weibo account, set up a WeChat official account, set up a Douyin account, and then they build their presence. So we get a lot of, I would say, a lot of brands, as well as a lot of, like, influencers and celebrities who want to go to China. I think there's a huge opportunity because, China, I think you saw recently, Kim Kardashian started selling her perfume on Douyin. So there's always been a fascination in terms of what's going on in the West. So you're like, if you're an influencer that's really, really popular in the U.S. or I definitely recommend you setting something up in China. but then you have to customize it for the Chinese market.
And where would you be located in China? Is it Shenzhen to be close to product manufacturers, or Hong Kong, Shenzhen, or I mean, where, or Shanghai? Like, what's a good place in terms of strategic? What do you think?
I think Shanghai is great because Shanghai is kind of like the New York City.
Yeah.
Shanghai is most of the brands have headquarters in Shanghai, and Shanghai is very pro influencer. So they have these they make it really easy for influencers to set up. Now all the brands are there. Like a lot of the global brands, they all have headquarters in Shanghai. That's like where it's like the Fifth Avenue. Shenzhen is also very good. Shenzhen's like it's on the rise. And Shenzhen is also very popular, but I see most of the influence. I would say Shanghai. Also, Hangzhou is pretty good. Hangzhou is Alibaba. It's near Tmall. So Hangzhou is also very good in the sense it's a little cheaper than Shanghai. It's closest to Tmall. But in terms of the brands, like a lot of the brands of the budget, most of their headquarters is in Shanghai. So I would say Shanghai is definitely. And it's also if you're like a foreigner, right? Maybe the language is not that not that easy. Shanghai, there's like it's like there's a lot of expats there. Yeah. I think you get along pretty easily without speaking the language, and you feel pretty comfortable. Shenzhen is great. Shenzhen is very cosmopolitan, but I think over there you need to have like a lot of manufacturers are there. But for influencers to interact with them, I think it'll be a little bit hard. I think it'll be way easier for influencers who are not Chinese to interact with brands in Shanghai. So I would say Shanghai, and then maybe Hangzhou. Hangzhou is like it's a little cheaper, and there are a lot of influencers there, a lot of studios. But for a foreigner, I would say Shanghai is probably the easiest place for them to get acclimated.
And I think that that's another learning for us in Western Europe, like to build some of these studios, right, with multiple phones, multiple LED lights, where basically you need to spend some of your time to do your live streaming. Like I still see a huge amount of catching up to do with the influencers. We see not just in US but also in Italy or Mexico, like still a lot of they're still maybe chasing TV a lot. And they're not yet, like, how do for instance, that's an interesting question, like how do you see the kind of influencers chasing TV versus just staying focused on the online? Like, what's the situation in China?
So I see actually like a lot of the influencers we work with, when they first start out, they actually work in their apartment. And it's kind of funny, it's like a lot of the influencers we see, they work in their apartment, and they take pictures, they do their photo shoots, everything's in their apartment. But then usually within a year, like maybe a year and a half, we see them moving into their own studio, and then they have like a huge studio with the lighting, the equipment, everything. And a lot of times we work with a lot of KOLs when they first get started. They're like rising ones. They tend to work from their apartment, and then after a year or so, then they have a whole team, and they move very fast. Just so you know, it's like for the lifespan of an influencer, I would say it's like 3 years. I haven't seen one go past 5 years. I haven't really seen one, like, we see Poppy John, which is very popular the last couple of years, but I would say the lifespan is like 3 years. So usually within this lifespan, you see a KOL when they first get started working in their apartment, and within a year or so, they get well known, they get some business, they start having their own production studio, and then within the second and third year, they're really they really have to optimize and maximize their earning potential, because the life, the shelf life, I guess the life for a KOL, it's things change so fast. So 1 minute you could be really hot, the next minute,
wow. Do like people just unfollow them, or they just follow other people, or like that sounds? I've not seen that with the influencers we've been advising and working with. Like, what's the?
I think it's like we actually had a summit, KOL summit, about I think a couple of months ago in December. We had one of the top investors who invested all the top KOLs. Li Jiaqi, who's awesomely the lipstick king. He also invested in all the top KOLs. And we talked about this, and he said it's really tough to be an influencer. It really is. It looks very glamorous and it looks great, but it's actually very tough because you have to constantly produce content. If just say you were to stop for 1 week, then you're dead. So it's like you have to constantly produce good content. You have to you have to have that, it's like you have to be very diligent. And then usually for the lifespan of a KOL, it's like they have about 3 years or so, right? So you really have to move very fast because China changes so fast in terms of what's trending, what's not. So usually, like I said, when you first get started, you're trying to learn how to grow your fans. What's your point? What's your key point? What is that point that where you grab the audience, right? And how do you develop that? Then you have to basically monetize it. Like, how do you monetize it? Do you create branded content? Do you start selling your own product? Do you have your own product line? So being a KOL, it sounds very glamorous and sounds great, but it's actually not that easy, and you have to. It's kind of like a business. It's literally a business. So when Vincent John, who is the investor we're talking about, he said like basically it's like some people, when he meets them, he meets a lot of influencers and they want to get funding. He knows immediately if they can make it or not. So he said, for example, he met this one KOL. He seems to produce really great content. He produces great video. This kid from, I think, one of the colleges in Beijing, he produces great video on 4G and 5G. And he just explained it in such an easy way that everyone totally understands how this technology works. So when he saw that video, he's like, wow, this kid is really talented. He could be a top influencer. He has that potential to explain things so easy that everyone gets it. But then after that kid actually produced that video, he didn't have any more content. So then, basically for a KOL, you can't just stop. You have to constantly produce content. And he said it's kind of a shame that kid stopped because basically that kid had talent to be really big, but he didn't continue. And usually, if you're a KOL, you stop. You're dead. So to answer your question, I think you're saying, your earlier question, is there a market for U.S. influencers or global influencers to come to China? Yes, definitely. There definitely is a market because because people here, whatever's in the West, it's also always very fascinating. But at the same time, it's like for the influence, it's like they have to really, I would say, grasp the moment because the lifespan is not a lot. They have like a good 3 years to really optimize their value. They don't, and they have to constantly produce content. So it's not that easy, but it's totally doable. So we have a lot of KOLs come to us, and they want us to help them, connect them to brands, help them, grow their fans, engagement, all of that.
Yeah, because I saw you also analyze Instagram. That's why also I had the question, and I wonder how much do Chinese influencers also care about rest of the world? Like, is anyone from China try to also go outside and establish a presence on Western social media, or is there still a big gap?
Oh, a lot of Chinese influencers. They want to go overseas. So you see a lot of U.S. ones or global ones going to China. That's definitely. And then you see also a lot of Chinese ones who want to go global. So too, a lot of Chinese influencers, if they could have a global presence on Instagram, they feel that kind of legitimize them. They're like, oh, they made it to the big time. So we see a lot of Chinese influencers trying to build a presence on Instagram. And I'll give you, for example, there's one influencer, Wang Yufan. So he was picked up.
Okay, let's see if I can write that. That's gonna be hard. Yun.
Y-U-N.
Y-U-N.
F-E-N-G.
F-E-N-G.
Yeah, he has an account on Instagram. So he actually got picked up by Vogue China. Vogue China like a year ago, maybe over a year ago. He was one of the rising influencers of China. What he does is go on Instagram. Oh, you have to put Wang. You have to put W-A-N-G. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's his first name. W-A-N-G. Yeah.
And then Yunfeng influencer.
Yeah, he got picked up by Vogue China. Yeah.
Vogue. Yeah, maybe I see it. Maybe it's bad because I wasn't the Italian one. That's why maybe not even.
That could be it. Let me give you his name. Hold on. He's on Instagram, so he does a lot of environmental stuff. But he's also a fashion one. So he's a makeup artist for the celebrities, and then he's really into environmentalists. So his stuff is pretty extreme. So this is his thing. Let me give it to you right now. It's Wong. Here we go. Okay, I'm sorry. It's here. It's if you look it up, YUNFENGWAN. Sorry.
YUNFENG.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no. YUN, not WUN.
YUN. Yeah. FENG. That's it.
Yeah. And last name is WAN.
WAN.
Yeah, space. Yep. Do that. Let's see. Yeah, right there.
That's it.
Yeah. So this guy got picked up, because his stuff is really, so he was picked up, and he has an Instagram. So a lot of Chinese ones are also looking to, go outside.
Oh wow! Yeah, he's definitely. I think he's more ready for outside of China than China. Oh wow! Yeah. I think I've seen him. Yeah.
He's in Beijing, so you probably saw him. So he's really big on environmental. That's his whole thing. But he's actually a makeup artist for celebrities. So he's really, he also got picked up by CNN recently. So he's like a big, he's a big makeup artist for celebrities. And then basically he also has a passion for the environment. So he does a lot of these, so that's one of them. That's pretty cool.
This is amazing in the Wutongs. This is so amazing.
These are like creative, protecting the environment.
Yeah, I can remember. I remember this is Beijing for sure. Oh yeah, there again in the closest.
If you look at his clothes, it's all environmental, friendly.
Is this what's this called? I forgot, but I've been here. I remember where they have the little boats.
Yeah, it's called
I forget, but I know exactly where it is. Awesome. Well, yeah, and I think last question, because I mean this is the only time we went over 30 minutes, but it was like too amazing. I couldn't stop you. Really, I'm like super fascinated, and hopefully we can organize a trip with some foreign influencers to China. But
yeah, I know they actually a lot of them want to come to the U.S. too, so we could definitely, I could totally see like if you have influencers who want to go to China, we could definitely arrange it, go to some of the studios, meet some of the brands.
And I think, for instance, right now I'm spending more time in Europe, and I think also Europe could be interesting to them, especially to Chinese, because correct me on this, but I had a feeling that Chinese love history and art and culture, like we do in Europe, and especially Italy, where I'm from originally. So in terms of like monuments where they can take pictures and so on, there's obviously a lot that they can do, and I think they want to create new content. But one last question from me from to you was like, what do you think are the top ways to make money for influencers? So I mean, I saw e-commerce is one, but maybe I'll let you go with like, what do you think are the best way where they focus on making money?
So the best way, right? It's like e-commerce sounds very easy, right? It sounds really easy. Like you sell your stuff, people will buy it. But it's actually not that easy.
Yeah.
So there's actually a lot of testing. So what I recommend for influencers, there's a couple ways to do it. Like first, they build their fan, they build their audience. They have to figure out what is their passion. What is their passion, and they have to stay real. Because once they start becoming like fake and whatever, they lose their audience. And then three, they have to really, stay real, and then they have to really stick to that, be consistent, create a lot of content. So first, you have to figure out what's their passion. Is it cooking? Is it fashion? Is it environment? What's their passion? Second, they have to, stay real. And three, they have to stay consistent. They can't change. Like they can't say one day I'm into fashion, the next day I'm into cooking, the next day I'm into travel. The audience gets so confused. So they have to stay consistent, stay real, and figure out what's their passion. Once they figure that out, I recommend start producing content. Look at the data. So see who your audience are, and then they can start basically maybe working with some brands to see how the audience react. And then once they figure out who's their audience, their engagement, what kind of content works, then they can start testing what kind of product. Because if you look at Douyin, you look at Pinduoduo, like the products that sell the most, they tend to be under like 200 kuai. That's like 200 RMB. So that's like $40. So the best products tend to that sell the most online is like that's under like $40. And then basically it's like makeup, something of a brand name. So maybe some collaboration. So I would say e-commerce is definitely the way to do it, but you have to do some tests first. Like, if you're just like, you're just starting, the first thing to start is like you have to build your fan base and focus on building great content, something that your fans will like love and relate when they think about it. They know it's you. But once you have that, maybe you do that within the first 3 to 6 months. So within 3 to 6 months, you could probably build your fan base, have a very good following, maybe 1 million, and then once you have that fan base, then you can start basically testing what kind of brands, what kind of product seems to relate the best with your audience. So we work a lot of KOLs where we partner them with brands, and then we can see what the performance is. But then the next, I would say 6 months, we work with different brands, see what brands resonate the best with your fans. And after you have that, you have all that data, right? You know your fans. Then you can start testing what kind of product works best. So maybe you might first start like basically doing some CPS, cost per sale, with with other people's products. And then once you see what product sells, then you can have your own product. Does that make sense?
Yeah, actually, that was the first time I heard this kind of cost per sale. Do you also help match that between companies and influencers on your platform?
Mm-hmm. So a lot of brands now, right? They're very concerned with cost. So they're concerned with cost. So a lot of them are just like the whole big data thing. It's not just a China thing; it's a global thing.
Oh yeah, it's global, yeah.
It's totally global. So what they do is basically they have they work with KOLs where they basically KOLs so I would say go to campaign. So when they do campaigns, they can look for KOLs where they could basically maybe they work with them for sales. They'll say, hey, if you help me sell this thing, we'll give you a high commission. So we do that. We match brands with KOLs too, and it really depends on the KOL. Some KOLs aren't willing to do that. Some KOLs will say, hey, if you want me to sell products, so you have to pay me up front, and I want to cut. Other KOLs, if they really like your products, they will be willing to do it for cost per sale. So we do that. Mm-hmm. And actually, a lot of brands are doing that now in terms of where, they're basically they want to basically focus more on sales versus exposure.
That sounds super interesting. To be honest, I could go on for a while, but I think like I always said, let's do them less than 30 minutes. We've gone at 42 minutes or so. But to be honest, no, for me it's super fun. I could keep going, but I also want to be kind of mindful of your time. I think we could at least this was like a good start for like getting to know you, getting to know your platform, getting to know influencers in China. Then hopefully like I think people gotta study more and read more. I don't know if you have any suggestions in terms of like either books or blogs or stuff like that. If you don't have anything right now, maybe you can send it to me later. We can add it to the post.
There's a lot of like great resources that you could read up on. But I would say it's like the space is only going to get bigger. I mean, it's like there's an article by Financial Times that says the next 10 years it's the Asia decade, and it really says that basically like in terms of what's going on, China, also the Asia market, it's basically it's going to be the biggest consumer market. So I could definitely send some more some articles and places that they could check out, and then. If thank you so much for having me. And if there's anything else I could help with, let me know. But it's been really
yeah,
fun.
I think that's my goal, right? I felt that like when I was in China 10 years ago, I felt obviously it was one of the first times that also in the newspapers they were saying thanks to the Olympics, China is opening up, right? And partially I saw that and I was happy to see it. And now 10 years later, China has really gone kind of Chinese brands have like grown internationally like crazy. And then China's own and home technologies have also grown a lot. But I think that what I would love to see is like more of that one world global integration, so that hopefully also with some of these influencers that often get heavily criticized, we could see some good stuff coming through. Especially when I'm thinking of the environment or other good stuff. Just in terms of world peace, maybe, just making sure the world is one place. And so like breaking down those barriers.
I think we'll see more of that. I think, it's pretty interesting what's going on. The last 2 years, it's like, you look at the media, China's really, it's just amazing how fast things change. The last 2 years, yeah.
And I mean, I think that I have to remember his name, but Yung Feng Wan. I don't know if this would have been possible in 2008 during the Olympics. Like, I mean, I lived in San Francisco 3 years, so I definitely support the whole.
New York, just so you know, he came to New York, Vincent. He actually came to New York, and he was like in Times Square. He was dressed like, yeah. He's actually coming to New York Fashion Week too. So.
No, and I think it's amazing. I mean, that shows like how everything is opening up and so on. So like, and I saw, I noticed here that when you submit a campaign information, you can also choose this international platform. So yeah, it seems like the question that I have, it's a yes. There is this kind of linkage between China and the rest of the world. So definitely, like I look forward to try to strengthen that bond and increase those linkages. So yeah, we'll definitely be on touch offline as well about this.
Yeah, I could probably arrange it. You might need a translator, but we could definitely do something like that. But anyway, thank you so much for having me. It's really fun. And then if there's anything I can help with, let me know. It's been like, thanks so much for having me on your show. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, perfect. Same here. And if I help in any ways as well. We'll definitely be in touch after this. We'll probably do this at some point, going deeper. I'll take a detailed look at your platform and see what we can do more.
Maybe we can also invite some like KOLs to maybe get one for you to come and talk about how they got started and stuff.
That would be
crazy.
Oh yeah, that would be amazing. That would be amazing. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that LinkedIn is always a platform, and maybe they forget, but I think they can always get a lot of kind of good business and good leads, right? Because they're so I think yeah, having a KOL would be great. So awesome.
Well, let me know. Well, thank you so much. And Chinese New Year's around the corner, so 恭喜发财. That means get rich, get rich.
I can only say 我爱中国，我是意大利人，我是美国人。我在万丈走，谢谢。你很漂亮，我爱你。
谢谢。
朝阳公园南路。
It has to say 恭喜发财. It's like Chinese New Year, so it's like you have to say, we wish you good fortune and good wealth. 恭喜发财.
恭喜发财。发财.
No, Thai, like T-S-A-I.
财.
T-S-A-I.
T-S-A-I. 财.
Yeah.
恭喜发财.
Excellent.
All right, this was great. Definitely, I almost read that the book that got me here. By the way, I need to shout out to Ashley. Was this book written by Ashley Galina about working with the bloggers in China? So like, I still need to finish it. So this got me interested about the space. It's a pretty good book. But definitely go check out, like we said already, go check out robin8.pro. And then you can find Miranda online, so you can maybe follow her on LinkedIn. She wants to grow her LinkedIn, so we'll close on that. Thanks again, once again, 谢谢, and 恭喜发财.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay.
Thank you. Bye bye.